if you have not created at least 100-question questionnaire for dating in 2025, I highly recommend you do it. So for all my sisters in Christ, we are dating to marry. A few questions that feel free to use these. These are great questions to help you along your dating journey and to help you to find your godly husband. So when you are dating somebody or getting ready to go on a date with them, you're just learning who they are. I would ask these questions. Does he carry the fruits of the Spirit? Another one is, how is his temperament? So if you can't do something or you have prior engagements, if he asks you to do something that you're not comfortable with, if he's too pushy, if he isn't respecting your boundaries, those are all red flags, because he's not going to respect you and it won't get any better. He's just showing you little glimpses of his temper coming out, or how he handles a situation that he doesn't have complete control of. So pay attention to that. And another one that is really important to me is what kind of language comes out of his lips? Does he use profanity a lot? Because for me, that isn't okay with me. I don't like to be talked to in any kind of way like that. Pay attention. If that is one of your convictions, you don't want somebody that swears or uses foul language, because if they use foul language when they talk, chances are it's going to be easier for it to come out of their mouth when it's geared towards you, when they're talking to you, when they're angry. So it'll be easier for them to call you names. And so because of what I went through, I would never date somebody that feels the need to have to swear. There's other words that you can use. You don't need to use those ones, especially when addressing me. Another one is, what kind of people does he surround himself with? Because they are like the people that they surround themselves with. So pay attention to his friends. Pay attention to who he hangs out with the most, and you're going to learn a lot witnessing his friends and his circle. Things does he watch? What does he watch on television? What kind of movies does he enjoy? And does it align with your convictions? Does it align with what you enjoy? Are you okay with what he watches? Because you should address that head on. If you're not, it's not going to get any better. That's, who he is. So, and these are just some things that, I have jotted down. Like, these are important things that I wish I had paid attention to before. Does he actually have an intimate relationship with Jesus? Or is he just regurgitating what he hears at church? Or is he sincere about it? Is he spending time in prayer? Comfortable praying over you, or even talking about the Lord and praying together? Are you guys on a date? Is he comfortable praying over the food before you eat it? Or so I would pay attention to that. And I'm not saying that if they're new with their walk with the Lord and they're just not fully comfortable with it, that's between them and Jesus. But for you, I would just pay attention, and then you'll know if they actually mean it when they're like, yes, oh yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, I'm, go to church every Sunday and I believe in this, this, and this. But a lot of times nowadays, you can't always believe people. So you have to test the spirit and pay attention to what they say versus what they do. A lot of them, if they're narcissistic, they prey on strong women, but also like soft women too, that they feel like they can get control over and just fool you. So you really need to protect yourself. Some non-negotiables that I have, and again, you can take this list and use it for yourselves. It's just whatever you feel that your core convictions are. But this one's really important. do they respect your boundaries? You need to set clear boundaries. You don't always say yes to everything. If you don't feel safe in a situation, or if you feel like you're being pushed too quickly into a situation, you need to, if they're not okay with you backing off or setting your clear boundaries, that is a huge red flag. And that's something that you should never negotiate. You should never negotiate your boundaries. Set them and you stick to them, because that is you loving yourself enough to set these boundaries and protect yourself. Love is going to start with yourself first. You need to love yourself first. And the way that you love yourself is the way that you will attract the right person to love you. So make sure that they respect your boundaries. The minute that they don't respect your boundaries, analyze the situation. Another non-negotiable is, are they emotionally supportive? Are they emotionally intelligent enough to make you feel safe and to make you feel loved and to give you the respect that you deserve? So the way that you respect yourself is also the way that somebody else will respect you. So I really encourage you to do some self-development and to really appreciate your value and your self-worth before you go looking for somebody else to come into your life. Because the way that you value yourself is the way that somebody else is going to put value on you. So make sure that you really love yourself before having somebody else come into your life. Another one is, do they take accountability for their actions? So if they do make a mistake or they do something wrong, are they quick to apologize for it? Do they acknowledge it? And do they change? Because, or do they turn it all around and somehow they did what they did because of something that they're blaming you for? Because that is, you do not negotiate on that one. If somebody can't take accountability for their actions, they're never going to get any better, and it's always going to be your fault. No matter what they do, they can't take the blame. So that is a sign of somebody who is not emotionally intelligent, and they deflect it on you, they gaslight you, and that is not okay. So I hope you make that one of your non-negotiables. That's not okay. Do they align with your future goals? Do they align with your own values? Because if you guys get married and you have a family, you want to make sure you're on the same page. It will make raising your children a lot easier, and they will have a much better upbringing and a much better life if you are aligned together and you guys know what you both want before bringing any children into the situation. So make sure that their future and what they expect out of the future and what you expect out of the future will agree with each other, and you guys can see yourself moving forward together. Because if you guys have issues in the beginning where you're not agreeing on a lot of things, you're going to have 1,000 more throughout your marriage. So, and that's not what you want, especially when you are raising children together. So if you are valuing being a stay-at-home mom and a full-time mom to your children, which I respect that so much, I don't think we have enough of that these days. So that's where I stand with that one. And so if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, then you need to make sure that he's also on the same page with that, so he doesn't throw that in your face and he doesn't try to take control of you and make you feel bad about yourself, because that is a job and he is covering the expenses for that job with his job. So it's something that you guys work together with. So you need to make sure that he is on the same page with that one. How are they with communication? Do they openly communicate with you, or do they shut down? Do they give you the silent treatment, or do they make you feel safe and where you can bring something up and discuss it with them and you guys can discuss it together? That's a big one, because that one actually does get worse with time, the longer that you're with them. So if they can't communicate with you now, they're not going to be able to, it's not something that's going to suddenly happen where they can communicate with you in the future. So I would watch the communication when you're dating somebody and go, okay, we're fighting way too much. Things are being miscommunicated. We're just not compatible in this way. Because you want to make sure that a big part of a relationship being strong and working out is the communication. If you don't have communication, you don't have anything. You don't have trust. You don't have the loyalty. You don't feel safe. You don't have the peace. So you need to be able to communicate with each other better than you can with anybody else. So you need to pay attention to that. Is he a good communicator? Is he a good listener? Or does he just talk at you? Does he blame you for things? Does he not? Do you guys never come up with a solution to a problem because you're avoiding it? So make sure that his communication is on point with your guys can both communicate. Really, really big point I want to get across to you ladies is honesty. Is this man honest with you? Is he honest with himself? If you have caught him in even just one lie, you need to look at this situation. Because once somebody is okay lying to you one time, they will continue, the lies will get bigger and bigger. So make sure that you have trust. This person doesn't lie. You cannot fix a liar. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. I want you to understand that your worth is not determined by somebody choosing you. You're already whole. You're already whole in Jesus. You don't need somebody else out there to complete you. So I don't want you to rush in to something thinking that, oh my gosh, I've been single too long, or maybe I'm getting older and, I have to hurry up and find somebody and settle down. I don't want you to think like that. You are already whole. You need to trust Jesus. You need to hand it all over to him. And you need to set your boundaries. You need to I tell people this all the time. Like, if you do not have a questionnaire when you're dating or getting to know somebody, you need to make one. You need to make one. Know what you're looking for. Know what you're not looking for. Know your non-negotiables. Know things that, you're not willing to accept, and stick with it, because you are worth so much that it breaks my heart when I see other women or mothers or anybody out there treated less than what they deserve by the person that they trusted, the person that they chose, they married, and they trusted, and they're just getting beat down constantly by this person. So if I can help even if it's just one woman out there, not to find herself in that situation, it is so worth it to me, because it is a horrible, horrible place to be. And you don't want your kids to see you treated that way. So stay strong, stay patient, trust in God, and don't reduce your worth for anybody. You keep your standards high, and you love yourself enough to be picky. It's important to be picky. So let me know if you have any questions, or if there's any other subjects that you want me to talk about down in the comments. And then please share these videos with somebody that you think that would get some kind of help or support, or it would just resonate with them. I would really appreciate that.